Welcome to In the Library with Marsha, and I already introduced you.
I heard you. And Adrian.
and today we have with us special guest,
Kara Walker.
Hello, Kara. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I know who you are, but if you would like to introduce yourself to Adrian and our listeners, tell me a little bit about your background. First of all,
yes.
I know you. How do I know you?
I know you because I was a part of the first official substitute clerking training in the Monroe County Library System. I mean, obviously subs were trained and whatever otherwise, but like we had made it organized and it was super helpful. So yeah, I'm Kara. I grew up around here. I started as a page at Frenchtown Library, transitioned just stuff with college and everything, tried to be a sub just to like pick my hours, which is perfect. It's a great job, I think, for college students. And also we might have Marsha on my podcast to talk about that. So yeah, so that transitions us to college, kind of kept the library in my back pocket as I went through college. And of course, even before working with you guys, and then since then, I'm always renting or borrowing, that's the word, something from the library. So always been a patron pretty much. And so the college realm, I guess I'll just say it bluntly, I went to college debt free. That was my goal, to go without student loans. And that's what I have a podcast about. And when I went and saw Marsha at Ellis and we were talking, and she's like, I got to have you on. We got to talk about this. And I also was talking about it as a resource for like the reference center and whatever. So yeah, I did not really know what I was doing, to be very honest. I was like leapfrogging my way through figuring out how to use grants and scholarships and just like work and pay cash for it, because I didn't know what I wanted to do at first. I didn't know if I was going to finish college, so I just didn't. I didn't want loans, and I didn't know what was happening. And then eventually I did, and then I was like, you know what? Now I don't want to work for anybody, which sounds funny. I mean, I still worked at the library some. I still did part-time jobs, but I have my own business now and podcast, helping students find scholarships for college. And my podcast is called Money and Mental Peace. Thanks for having me.
That's amazing. Your bio is awesome. I love it. I also love that I have just recently kind of reconnected with you, because I hadn't seen you in, a few years during your college years very much, because I was at Bedford and you were, even when you were working for the library, we didn't really see each other much after.
Right. Training. But you can never forget Marsha.
Aww.
And literally, I knew you were here more in Monroe at Ellis, literally just because I heard your voice like over the stack somewhere.
Everyone hears me before they see me, right, Adrian? Everyone hears me. I'm too loud for the library. But I love that you're there. I love that that's, another one of your like offices away from.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot to say also through all of college and starting my business, I would go and work at the library. Yeah. So I'm always at a library.
I love it. I love that you're, when it's not too warm upstairs, you're upstairs in the room by me and I can see you daily, or when you are downstairs and you pop up. So I love that we've kind of reconnected. I also love this, be a guest on your podcast, and this business. I've already passed your resource along to a few different people that I know. I think that it would be great for. And so, yeah, I've really enjoyed reconnecting with you. So
Thanks.
That's a little bit about you, and you're so lovely. But also Adrian always has some burning questions, and he has the really hard.
I really hope it's that he wants me to do an impersonation of Tom Holland. Is that it?
I do now.
I don't think I can do it. I just do the lips. I guess I kind of can have an accent, but I don't know if it's his accent. I don't know.
That's good. That was perfect. He's like, I do now.
You were a library page. If you could be a page from any book, what page would you be a book from? Would you be a page book?
Wow. You turned that one around on me. How specific do I have to be?
You have to pick a book.
Just the title of the book, yeah.
I have to pick a book. Okay. I actually have never read these books. But I feel like it's prevalent because my friends are like, it's October, we need to do a Twilight marathon. But I've never read the books. But I literally want to be a page in one of those in those books in like the high school scenes to see like what in the world is happening with these weird people. They're like the vampires or something. I don't know. Or like some community member who's accidentally walks upon this battle they're having with werewolves. That's only because I'm literally just watching those. Besides that, I think I think I'd want to be a really boring page in some random book. I know you asked for a certain book, but some really random book where the person's like, finally I get to take a nap and relax and look out at the seashore in England or something. Was that two random specific ones?
That's perfect. The little calming effect. I like
Yeah.
both of those. Your Twilight reference made me think of Anna Kendrick, because people sometimes forget, and maybe you remember because you saw the movie, not read the book, but Anna Kendrick, and she wrote this biography called Scrappy Little Nobody. That's really cute. That kind of talks about her career and how she came to be. And she references a lot some of those scenes in the movie Twilight where she had to like pretend to be dead for hours upon hours, or when she was in the high school, she was the cheerleader friend. So it made me picture that, like, you just want to be in the cafeteria when all this is
yeah
going on.
yeah oh, that's so funny. Yeah, no, totally. She started with that, and then of course is one of the most popular actresses now from that movie. Yeah, that's a good point. One time I was in the show Romeo and Juliet, just Monroe Community Players.
Yay.
And one of the best parts is when I just had to be a dead party goer, just laying there and waiting. And another time I got to kick a guy, so that was really fun.
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm saying is it's more fun, in my opinion, in like acting in theater and probably in books, to just be those background characters and watch what's happening.
It's a lot less pressure, maybe a little more fun. Are you still with us, Adrian? What are you even doing?
I'm still here, but now I have a different question.
Okay, he's back.
If you could be the background character in any movie or television show, what would you be a background character in?
Okay, you're really I need plan ahead. I need to like be able to process these ahead of time, but that's why you do it to throw me. You do it to throw me for a loop. If I could be a background character in any show, all right, I'm just gonna have to pick one. Did you guys ever watch that old BBC show Merlin back in the day?
Merlin? Did you say Merlin?
Merlin, yeah. Okay, and it was like Merlin and King Arthur, but like when they're like teenagers. Yeah, I want to be a background character there and just literally live in like a Renaissance festival like all the time.
I love that. We talk about time periods a lot. You've even asked that before, Adrian, like a time period. That's great. That's like a two for one.
But only in that show, because the literal medieval period was literally Dark Ages, and I'd probably be dead by now and have like 11 kids mourning me or something. So
I always say I wanted to live back with like Little House on the Prairie. I wanted to live, and then I remember I do sort of like indoor plumbing and running water and electricity. And then I don't really want to die of scarlet fever and things like that. So yeah, whenever I think like, oh, I wish we lived there. And do I really want
just for like a week or a day?
Sure. Any more questions, Adrian? What do you have?
I can always ask more questions.
All right, let's lay it on her.
What is the best board game in your opinion?
Okay. I'm going to be a total nerd. Are you ready for this? But not like a nerd like fantasy realm, but like a nerd related to my podcast, because I'm talking about like finances and debt free. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Dave Ramsey, who does like the financial guru stuff, but that's really who inspired me to do this. So literally Dave Ramsey has a board game. It's called Act Your Wage. And the goal is you got to go around. It's like the game of life. Like stuff happens to you. Like you get an inheritance and then a tree falls on your car and you don't have insurance, or like all this stuff. And the goal is to get to the end of the game is you have to like pay off all your debts, and like you have like a job and a car note amount. And then like whoever gets around, and then I don't know if it gets to retirement or whatever wins. It's so nerdy, but I'm just like, that's how I'm going to teach my kids about finances. I don't even have kids, but it's like the game of life. Well, I always loved the game of life as a kid. So it's basically that, except like you can actually learn stuff.
I love it. I didn't even know that was a game. I'm very familiar with Dave Ramsey. I did not know that was a game, but I feel like that sounds like a great Christmas present.
Okay, you're so good, because I literally asked for it for Christmas one year. I'm such a nerd. I'm a personal finance nerd, and I am not afraid to show it. Literally since starting college, I was like, I can't wait to be done with college and start saving for retirement, because I'm not gonna have, be like stressed when I'm 70. Anyways, I digress.
Good for you. Good for you. No, I'm proud of you. I think more people should be that way. That's an excellent reason to tune into your podcast or get in touch with you, because I think you have some really great advice and really great tips there, for sure.
Thanks.
Before Marsha takes it over, I'm going to ask you one more question, okay?
I'm excited and scared.
Would you rather be a tub of yellow Play-Doh or a tub of green Play-Doh?
Oh, definitely yellow. Because if I was ever like mixed with other colors, I could become other colors.
You could become.
So I wouldn't always have to stay yellow. And also, if I was dropped on snow, no one would eat me. So yellow snow. I don't know. I just thought of that.
That's very well thought out. Yeah, it's almost like you planned for that question.
I wish I could say he gave me that ahead of time, but that was the fastest I answered any of his questions.
I love it. I know. I always say when I listen to these later, some people are really they sound like they were prepared and given these questions ahead of time.
Oh yeah,
no. I don't even think Adrian has these questions ahead of time. Sometimes he'll make them custom to our guests, but I knew he didn't really know you, and I couldn't wait for him to meet you. So I knew these were going to be out of nowhere. So
I am all for it.
I know you said you hadn't read some of those books. What are you reading now? Is there anything you're reading since this is a library podcast?
Yeah, so actually I've been doing tons of audiobooks and podcasts lately instead. And so there's this podcast that, well, hang on, you didn't ask about podcasts. You asked about
let's talk about podcasts. We can go back to books. Do podcasts.
Oh, okay. Well, it's like a dramatic podcast with sound effects and stuff, so it reminds me of audiobooks. It's called Haunted Cosmos, and it's going into stories about like anything from sea monsters to Bigfoot to the Bermuda Triangle, and then some are kind of eerie, like it's like vampires or like the Mothman or something. But not only are they telling some stories, but they literally have like some sources of historical documentation of these kind of otherworldly things. But then they also have like background stories and like sound effects and like sea monsters in the sea and the sailors heave-hoing, and I don't know, it's a whole, like, you have to have headphones. It's a whole immersive story learning. So I've been into that lately. And then if you're talking books, it's also audiobooks. I said I never watched Twilight or read Twilight, but since watching them, I found out that there is a book by Stephanie Meyer called Midnight Sun in Edward's perspective. So I'm actually listening to that one. Literally, to go through all the books sounds overwhelming at the moment when I have a list of other things that I want to read. But I'm just listening to that one book because when you watch the movie, I'm like, wow, he had a lot going on in that head of his. So that's what I'm listening to or reading. And y'all should check out Haunted Cosmos because it's any random things that are like supernatural.
I don't mean to jump in and interrupt, but
yeah, you do.
Edward had a lot of stuff going on in his head. Unlike me and Marsha, we're pretty empty-headed.
Oh yeah. So you have no chance to become a vampire then. Got it.
Well, that Haunted Cosmos sounds perfect. Plus, it's kind of, timely, right? I mean, I don't know if this will be out in time. Will this be out probably on or before Halloween? So, I mean, this seems like a good time to get into that too.
Yeah, nice. Perfect. I know that's kind of where the Twilight marathon, when I say marathon, it's like been one a weekend, but still. Yeah, that's kind of where it came from.
Slow motion,
that and Haunted Cosmos.
Slow motion binging. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds great. Yeah, I love that. I love that you're revisiting that. That's funny. I mean, it's funny when I book talk Twilight and things, I felt like I was book talking Twilight before they were ever made into movies. And then they became made into movies. And then I felt like everybody heard about them. But then when I'm talking to younger kids who haven't read or seen those movies yet, I don't know how teachers do it. I don't know how they reinvent themselves because I'm bored with talking about it, and it's new to somebody else. So I love that right now that you're giving a fresh perspective for me. It makes me want to reread some of them. Don't forget about there's another really thin short book called The Short Sweet Life of Bree Tanner, and it's a side character, a background character.
Oh, it's me.
Yeah, I thought of you because it's a really quick read. I don't know if it's on audio because it's so short, but it's a little companion, and it's you get to hear her whole background, and she has such a small part in the series and on the But I love that they did a little side shoot of that.
Sure, so, I love snippet type stories. There's something I don't know. We're not going to get in there. There's something I found lately. I can't remember what it was, but like little anthology side stories. But go ahead.
That's my life. Those are my real stories, or little side stories. So I love it. I'm all in it.
Speaking of little side stories, what are you both going as for Halloween?
Ooh, good question.
I wasn't going to tell you because I might see you Saturday night, right? Don't you want to be surprised?
No.
Well, I have a couple of different options and depending on where I'm going. So I'll tell this in the next podcast after Halloween. How about you, Kara? Are you dressing up?
So I think Halloween night is when we're doing our last Breaking Dawn Part 2 watching. So, but we'll probably walk around, my friends and I, just like the neighborhood. So I will probably identify as a young millennial student, looking college student, even though I'm not in college. I hang out with a lot who still are, which is also helpful for my podcast. So I'm just going to pretend. I guess I'll just pretend like I'm in college.
I love it.
Sometimes I dress up. This Halloween, there's not really anything big happening. We're watching a movie, walking around. That's it. I'm a college student.
It's like you're wearing your costume today.
Yes, exactly.
That's
But
what
what's
Carry around.
Adrian doing?
Adrian, tell yours because I think I know it, but share it here.
Oh, I created some outfits from Ken in the Barbie movie.
Wow, that'll be
Complete with wardrobe
fun.
changes.
What? He
Yeah.
has so many wardrobe changes.
Well, I don't have them all, but I'm going to change periodically throughout the night. So
That's actually super smart. I had never thought of it as part of through the character. Go for it. And you're dyeing your hair blonde, of course, right?
we'll see.
He might. His hair color changes.
Oh, okay.
Last year for Halloween, he sold out. He dyed his hair purple. I mean, he gets into it. So I think, and actually,
fun.
Adrian, has it been blonde before? I feel like it was light before too, wasn't it?
I'll never say. Man of mysteries. They're stupid mysteries, but they're mysteries.
Got to keep people guessing.
When you shut your camera off and your name's up and you're talking, it reminds me of War Games. And you're like, Joshua. I feel like I'm talking to Joshua right now.
Do you want to play a game?
Doesn't remind. I think Kara's a little too young for that, but that's exactly what it sounds and looks like to me right now.
I think I might be too young. I can't remember. Was that also like Tron or something?
So
No, around the same time, but it's Matthew Broderick. You might like
Okay.
it. You might like
All
it
right.
with your
long before you were born, when I was but a 40-year-old man, there was a movie called it was called War Games, wasn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With Matthew Broderick, and they played a computer what he thought was a war game, but it turned out to be a real war, and it was a whole thing.
Oh, wow. That sounds like Ender's Game. That would be the most
Yeah.
recent
like
I'd know.
It's an old school Ender's Game, but it might be cheesy for you. I have a hard time getting my nieces and nephews to watch movies from like the 80s or 90s because they feel very dated. And this will feel, the technology is sort of, sometimes laughable now, but it's a pretty good move. And that's what you remind me of right now.
Cool.
Adrian, Joshua.
Adrian the Warrior.
So anything else? What else, Kara, would you like to share about? Anything you'd like our listeners to know or hear about?
Well, that's nice of you to ask. I think what I just want to share is like finances, because I'm going to be a little boring for a second. Finances don't have to be scary and can be exciting when you're trying toward a goal and you also feel like you're being responsible and adult and having nerdy fun at the same time. So if anybody ever wants to learn about getting scholarships and paying for college without student loans, I have that on my podcast. If all of y'all are like, I am 47 and have no desire to go back to school, this is my smallest quick thing. I just love to tell people how cool budgets are, and that sounds so annoying and boring, but I just want to say it's not a straitjacket. It's a calendar for your money. So if suddenly you're like, I have been invited to an extra Halloween party and I need to be Ken more than once, but I have to do dishes tonight. Well, there's a time that you might decide to rearrange your schedule and do dishes tomorrow and go to the party. If you lay out your budget and you're like, but it needs to change mid-month, you can change it mid-month. It's just simply writing down where it went and where it's going so that you're not wondering what happened to your money in a week and it should have lasted for 2 or 3. That is my little tidbit. I love doing the calendar for your money, and everybody, bug Adrian about and Marsha about what they ended up wearing for Halloween. That's all I got.
I love it.
Can I ask for a quick round of financial advice?
Amen. Yes.
Okay, so listen.
The answer is no. I'm kidding.
I don't know if this is strictly financial advice or if you'd be able to help. If I'm planning to sue a certain podcast co-host, is it better to let them know in advance or not?
Would ramen fix the situation so you wouldn't have to do it?
Ramen fixes everything.
My suggestion is do the ramen and say, and also we're talking boundaries. I'm gonna be a little serious. You could be like, if you don't fix this, I'm not giving you the ramen. But if you fix, and I'm suing you, but if you fix your attitude, I'll give you ramen.
I love it. I love that ramen is fixing the world, making the world come together. I will tell you that my coworkers have introduced me to, I call it fancy ramen, but it has changed my life. It's in its little bowl and it's Korean barbecue, or I don't know if you've had the fancy ramens, but I would say definitely, I mean, they're, by fancy, I still mean they're like $1 or $1.08. You can get them at the dollar store or whatever, but they have their own little bowl and you can microwave them and they are different flavors. And it's been life changing. I have been experiencing a lot of different ramen lately, and it's worth it. So all of this talk about ramen is making me hungry and loving thinking about which flavor I want to choose.
I love that. Yeah, might as well do fancy ramen that way. Right, because there's actually like organized like Korean ramen restaurants. They're like uber expensive.
Yeah.
But like do that. Why not? Splurge on $8.
Yes, upgrade to fancy bougie.
Splurge. That's what the
bougie.
financial person said. Splurge. If it's only $1 or $2.
I love thinking of your budget as a calendar. That's really cool. So it's not like, it's like they say, like, not a dream denied, but a dream deferred. And I feel like that's kind of the same way. It's not it's not a splurge denied, it's a splurge deferred.
You could even choose to not pay your bills. I mean, that's not the best choice, but also and spend it on a trip. But at least if you wrote it down, you knew who in the world made that stupid decision.
And just something to plan for or build for. I like it. I like thinking of it a budget as a calendar. That's really, like you said, instead of a straight jacket or a spreadsheet. That
no, I'm changing my budget probably mid-month several times, but at least it's always coming down to zero. So
I love it. I love it. That's so smart. That's really smart. All right, Adrian, do you have anything else for Kara, for the lovely Kara joining us today?
I don't.
Well, you have been such a great guest. I thank you for coming on. Again, thank you for joining us today, taking time out of your day, and I will see you in person in the Ellis Library soon.
Yes, ma'am. We'll connect on that. I did send you an email of some ideas to come on the podcast, so let me know what you like.
I can't wait.
Which ones you like.
I can't wait to join your podcast, and thank you for joining ours.
Thank you for having me.
I just wanted to remind everyone that Jackie and Gary will be coming to perform at the Ellis Library and Reference Center on this Friday, November 3rd at 1:00 p.m. And they sing old songs and folk music, and they have done multiple performances around the library system. Jackie was a member of the New Christie Minstrels, and they are just fan favorites for sure. And I am looking forward to giving them a great and wonderful audience. So if you are available to turn out and you'd love to come on Friday at 1:00 to the Ellis Library and Reference Center, that'd be great. I will be there. If you have not yet visited the Ellis Library, this is a great time to come and see me and get a tour, and of course enjoy the music and some of the other great things that we have going on. And for this program and all of the library programs around the county, you can go to mymcls.com and you can click on our events calendar, and that will show you where the events are for you. You can go search by age if you're interested in a children's program or a craft program. You can search by topic. And the next day, so Jackie and Gary concerts on Friday, and then on Saturday is the Maker's Mart, also at the Ellis Library and Reference Center, where you can come and purchase creations made by youth Maker's Mart. I'm pretty excited for that too. I'll be signing up for that. The lovely Lucy is running that, and we will have a lot of great displays and venues and tables available. And also at the Bedford branch that same day on Saturday, November 4th, is Betsy Levin's painting class. Betsy, a former podcast guest and really related to the library in so many ways. And those are just some more events that are going on. You can also go to the Monroe County Library System Facebook page. And when you're on the Facebook page, you can go ahead and search by events there, or you can see pictures, photos of recent events, and you can even just leave comments there if there's something you'd like to see, or if you have questions about anything about the library hours or anything going on, you can go to the Monroe County Library System Facebook page as well. Thank you.